Hey, good morning, Will. Like my bedhead, I was reading this morning, and it was really, really cool. I'm in the Old Testament in Second Kings, I guess chapter 4, and I just wanted to share with you. I know if I share it with somebody, I'll remember it more. So basically, you probably heard of Elijah before, but after Elijah came Elisha, and Elisha was like a follower of Elijah, but he was a prophet. Elisha was a prophet. And basically, as he was traveling around, there was this one woman in this one town that would like say, "Hey, come have some food," and she would feed him. And she began to understand that he was a prophet. I guess she was just being hospitable. And she's like, "Oh, he's a prophet." And so she's like, "Hey, husband, let's build a little room for him upstairs where he can rest when he travels, and just make him a little bed, a little table, and a little lamp and a chair." And so they do. And so every now and then, he's traveling through and he sits and he rests there. And he says, "You guys have been, thanks for, being hospitable. Look, it's morning. And like, having me, what can I do for you? You know?" And, and she's like, "No, we're good. We live here." But her husband is getting old. And so Elisha's servant was like, "Hey, she has no son and her husband is old. Her husband dies, like she can't go out, anyway, so she needs a son to help. Needs, or probably would be a blessing to have. It says that she was a prominent woman, so they may have had some manner of wealth. But anyway, so Elisha says, "Hey, you'll have a son," and she's like, "No, don't lie to me, don't deceive me." But next year, she conceived, bore a son, and the child grew up, and he was going out with his dad to help him reap some crops and stuff. And he was like, and the kid had some problem with his head. He was like, "Oh, my head, my head." Brings the kid home. The kid sits on his mother's lap until noon and then dies. And so, like, I mean, imagine that, right? So she lays the son on the bed of the prophet Elisha, that in the upper room there where he would stay. And she goes and gets a donkey and travels to where Elisha lived. And her husband was like, "Why are you going to the prophet? It's not like a celebration day. It's not a Sabbath." And she says, "Look, it's going to be fine. Just," and it's like, man, she has so much faith. She says to her husband, she says, "It will be well." And so as she approaches, she grabs a hold of Elisha's feet, and I'm leaving out some details here. And Elisha's servant tried to take her away, and he was like, "No, don't. Let her alone. Her soul is troubled within her, and the Lord has hidden it from me and has not told me." And she says to Elisha, she says, "Did I ask for a son? Didn't I tell you not to deceive me?" And so Elisha ends up going to her house, and the kid, he prays and does some other stuff. But the kid comes back to life, basically. And, of course, she was grateful and excited and all that. But, first of all, she was hospitable. And when she realized that, hey, this is someone who serves God, she had a lot of faith. And so she's like, "Well, I know that God is generous. So I'm going to take care of his people. I'm going to take care of his servant. I know he's going to take care of us." It's just this faith, this like, hey, I want to honor God any way I can. And she had so much faith that God would do good. She didn't need a son, right? But God gave her more than what she needed, and she believed that He would do good. So I know that as we're seeking God, that one of the big things I've mentioned before is that God really wants us to believe that He does good. Check out, open up your Bible to Hebrews 11, excuse me, chapter 6, Hebrews chapter 11, verse 6. It says there are two requirements in that verse that God lays out for someone who wants to seek God. And so look those up, text me the two requirements, uh, and yeah, and tell me if you have any other thoughts. I'd love to hear them. Love you, buddy. See you.